setting up for the perfect
I noticed.
experience.
I noticed in you and Johnny's show that the box goes all big like this as well.
Yeah, it does it all the time. I just got to readjust it, and it's one of these little cliquey little things. But
Old
and
guy with technology.
well, no, it's something cliquey. I don't know what it is, but there we go. That's better. And the thing is, between your head and my head, it takes up so much space,
Yeah, I think
and
there'd be
that's why I
one
do the
smaller.
smaller windows here because your head looks like a suitcase, mine looks like carry-on luggage, um, and at the end of the day, we're recording, by the way. Hey, welcome everybody, welcome to the second episode of the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball
Yep.
from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and
I
Rowley.
was actually watching the record thing, the time thing go while you were talking there. I was just going to
Yeah.
say, I wonder how long it's going to take them for the notice.
It's all good. I mean, it's part of the fun, right? I mean, we're a low budget show.
Very low
Even
budget.
though,
We have a budget.
we don't even have a theme song, but I'm going to start one. Before I do that, I want to introduce myself and introduce you. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and the host of the Canadian Bro Show in two iterations. The first iteration is All Things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny. And we are on our 18th episode, which will be released next Monday. And if you haven't seen it, please enjoy it. It's kind of like mostly Canadian stuff, or try to, as much as possible anyways. It's pop culture. We love movies and film and theater and food and music and cards and novels, and it's just a fun way to delve into the culture, the Canadian pop culture, and Canada is really producing quite a bit of talent. But the second iteration, and the one that I'm really excited about, is I like them both. Trust me. And there will be a third iteration on real estate. But enough of that. This one is the Canadian Bro Show, and the second iteration is all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. And I've got a theme song I've been working on, and it's
Oh, God.
Hoop Junkies. I
No.
said Hoop Junkies with Pauly and Rowley. All basketball with Pauly and Rowley. Hoops with the soul, players for life. Let's go.
Oh, my God. We just
We've
lost every subscriber that we'd ever
Well, the
might
show
have.
the show's not live, so we can't lose anyone yet.
Yeah,
But
true.
in the first 3 minutes, we just might. But hang in there, folks. It's going to get a lot better. I just want to share the best part of the show and make just an incredible introduction for one of the most talented individuals I know. One of the probably one of the smartest sports guys in the world. And sorry, Brooke Riggins, I know you think you are. However, I think Trent Rowley has got you. He's got you beat. I don't know if you listen to the show. I hope you're doing well, bro. He's an old friend of ours.
Yes.
I just want to introduce Trent Rowley, our co-host with the most. And if you don't know what that means, comment, and he'll be happy to share at least 14 paragraphs.
It was
Uh,
just something to put there. That's all it was.
and Trent is really remarkable. He's an old friend, over 35 years, and he is also a co-host of the Ben Voulin radio show, Two Guys One Rant. They've done, I don't know, 35 shows, and it's quite a
Almost
good
40.
show. 40?
Yeah. Almost
Wow!
40. I think 39.
Congratulations,
Yep. Last.
congratulations! And in our ticker down below, you can see a lot of the information there. So if you want to go check it out, it's on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I was really happy. It took a while to grab Mr. Rowley, and the reason why is because he is the Barry White of St. Paul's, Alberta, and that voice is velvet butter. It's
Yeah.
golden, and it makes the ladies like the hair in the back of their neck stands up, in other places possibly as well. But
There.
anyways,
No.
welcome, Trent, for our second show. Thanks to have really nice
Yeah.
to have you a part of this. And first show
Yeah.
was fun. And how are things in St. Paul? How you doing?
Wonderful. A little bit cold. Winter's coming, right?
Yeah,
So
same in Kelowna. Yeah,
yeah, things are good, man. Let's talk
that's
hoops. It's been a
yeah.
week of hoops,
So
and let's
right,
go.
I was just thinking before we get into it, and I'm going to give Trent the lead on. We're going to do a breakdown, but I just wanted to do just sort of a synopsis of uh, weekly basketball in Trent and I's world. And we watch basketball 7 days a week, amongst other sports, of course, with the World Series going on, and of course football, and European sports and tennis and golf, and I watch it all as well. But we're hoop junkies for a reason. We are dedicated hoop junkies, and we love basketball. And last night I watched all four games, and I just want to do a recap of last night. Whether you're following it or not, there's games every day, but Tuesdays and Thursdays tend to be the slowest days in the NBA calendar. And if you're a fantasy basketball enthusiast like Trent and I are, those days are actually really good days to film, because then we can sort of reboot through the previous busy days. Like you're looking at basically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Are super busy, where the vast majority of the 30 teams are playing. And last night, I just want to talk about another record, and Josh Lloyd, who has probably one of the best fantasy basketball shows in the world. He's from Australia, and he's with Monster.com, was slagging off Wembyama. A lot of people are choosing him in the first round, and was saying that he's had a really soft start to the season. Now, first and foremost, before anyone criticizes anybody in the league, we've only played for some teams 5 games. So it really, and at this time of the year, and especially in fantasy, if the season starts on a Tuesday, you're pretty much screwed, because there's only going to be 4 or 5 games if you're lucky at
Right.
having even 2 games. So then you're right behind the 8 ball as soon as the fantasy league starts. And the first week, I just got slaughtered for the first time in 20 years, in the first week. So now I got to make it up. And Trent and I, we both drafted with the Hoop Junkie Canadian Bro Show Hoop Junkie channel. We both drafted in the same draft, and we have the same logo, but we have different teams. And Trent's in 5th place, and he started off as a bronze, and I think they bumped him up to silver. And I'm in 9th or 8th. I'm just chugging along, chugging, just chugging in deep shy. Anyways, Wemby did something that is just does not happen very much at all.
Yeah.
In last night's game, he had 25 points, he had 9 rebounds, he had 7 assists, and he had a 5 by 5, 5 steals, 5 blocks. So in current lingo, that's 10 stocks. That
Yeah.
just does not happen very often in the history of the NBA. And the only other players that can really be mentioned, and there's quite a few, but there's really only 17, but some of them have done it multiple times. Well, Wemby's done it twice now, and this is only his second year. So it just shows you what a freak of nature is. Yes, he's 7'5". Yes, he has almost a 7'10", wingspan and reach, and his hands are twice the size of Dr. J's hands. So Dr. J's hands are 12 inches from pinky to thumb, and Wemby's make his look like a child's hands. It's just remarkable. The only other players that were able to do that was, believe it or not, do you remember Andre Kirilenko?
Of course.
He,
AK-47, man.
yeah, man, AK-47. He did it 3 times, believe it or not. Hall of Flamer, Flamer. He's not a flamer.
Wow.
Although he was so hot when he played during his career, he was on fire the majority of the time. Akeem Olajuwon did it 6 times.
What a
I
surprise.
mean, yeah, just incredible. So just understand that 5 steals, 5 blocks, it's unheard of in fantasy basketball. It's absolute golden. Yes, I had one of my 8 teams, I had first round pick, and I chose Wemby. One of my 8 teams, I had a second round pick, and the person before me chose Wemby, and I got Jokic. I would have taken Jokic in both. I just wanted to see what would happen. And then the other guys, I watched the Memphis game. Memphis is like Toronto Raptors. Half of their roster is injured. And so they're relying on people that got picked. Scottie Pippen Jr., who won the MVP of the Summer League, is playing out of his mind. And he looks like his dad, but his dad's 6'8". Scottie Pippen's 6'2".
Yep.
And he's been playing excellent. And Jean Morant with Memphis has been in and out of the lineup, mostly out, because I think he's just trying to acclimatize. Well, he came in last night and a triple double, 19 points, 14 assists, 12 rebounds, 2 steals, 2
10
threes.
points.
Like just crazy. He
Yep.
manipulated and dominated the game without really looking like he was making an effort. It was remarkable. It was smooth. The
Well,
other
they
guy
got
that played
Jackson
with
back too, right? So Jackson Jr. is playing, so that's a big deal, right?
oh, it's
With
absolutely. And you know what? Nobody knows what to do with Eby and
no,
his slow start. So Jean Morant does. He got Eby going with lobs and easy dimes, and he's like
I
a
think
magician out there.
I think the better stat to look at is when I'm looking at it when you're talking about it is, yeah, it's a triple double. A lot of times, what I like to look at with players is let's just say they put up a minimal stat line of a Draymond Green triple single, right? As Charles Barkley calls it, 9, 7, and 6 or something. But when
I
you look
love that.
over, yeah, I do too. But when you look over at the plus minus, you
Yeah,
see that guy was plus 18. That means he was plus 8. The team was so I look at Ja Morant last night,
yeah,
and he's a plus 29
yeah,
when he's on the floor. That's
yeah.
the difference. He
Wow.
doesn't have to score 25. It's the fact that you've added 20 points, if not more, by assists, right? So to
And
be
his
plus
usage,
20,
the fact he's on the court, he can contribute in 9 categories
he's
because
a
he does
talent.
get a lot of turnovers.
There's no question he's a talented player. It's just
Yeah,
again, like lots of guys we talk about, never healthy, never available, or he's
yeah.
busy in a strip club playing with a gun,
Yeah.
thinking he's a big shot. And the guy's like went to private school. Like, give me a break. You're not a gangster.
No,
Like,
no.
God,
But I mean, when you're a multimillionaire and you look like a gangster and act like one, try telling him that.
yeah, for sure. So, but yes,
And then the next guy, only 4 games last night, Trent. I'll make this quick. And the next
yeah,
one
yeah.
is a real surprise. And I'm a big fan of his talent, of his skill set. I'm not a big fan of his off the court activities, but James Harden is really everything I expected. I only drafted him in one of my 8 fantasy teams, but I got him in the late second round because I knew he would be flirting with leading the league in assists and getting back to his old Houston days of scoring, and he's playing great. The only problem is he's leading the NBA in turnovers right now, but he had a great game. He had a triple dub as well
Double team.
last night.
Yeah, the difference for him is his triple double.
Salute.
His triple double is 25, 13, and 10,
Yeah.
and he's a -2,
Well, he had 7 assists or
He had
7
6 turnovers.
turnovers.
He had 6 turnovers, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's the difference in that
Yeah.
number, right? You can put up all those great numbers, and if you're a minus, who
Yeah.
cares? You put up
Well,
those kind of numbers and you're a plus 15, plus 20, that's you made an actual difference in the game when you're a plus.
absolutely. That's a good point. And in fantasy, it's 9 categories. I usually punt turnovers because I'm a guard heavy type of guy. I need to have really good guards and just punt turnovers. But I mean, the assists are more important. Turnovers hurt. I just completely negate that category and I just focus on 8. That's what I do.
The guy
The
who's the guy who's actually, I think, surprising everybody right now is having a great start is Zubac. He is having a
Yeah.
great start to the
Well, it's
season.
about time. It's about bloody
Yeah,
time.
he's still a young guy,
He's
but
a
I mean,
late bloomer. He is a young guy,
yeah,
and they locked him up. They signed him up, and
yeah,
he's steady. And
having
the
a great
problem is their bench is really weak, and they
yeah.
have no guard depth. And the next person I want to talk about had a great game last night is Devin Booker. The Suns were down 21
Yeah.
points at one point in the game, and I just thought it was going to be a blowout. And then all of a sudden, and they've got injuries as well. Once again, guess who's injured on the Suns? We didn't, Bale. The guy spent his entire career getting almost $1 billion, and he's been injured probably
Yeah.
60% of his
Yeah.
entire career.
It
It's
took
just
over last night in the 3rd quarter there was just insane. Just
yeah, I mean, incredible. And Booker went off. He had 41. He had 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 4 threes, and he's a quiet assassin. He's a pretty boy. He's a really nice cat. And anyways, that was the
and a
situation from
and a
last night.
plus and a plus 20.
Yeah, yeah, and high
Yeah.
usage,
Yeah.
and you know what? They don't really have. They've got a couple of decent, somewhat combo guards. He's a combo guard. I think he's the best point guard on their team, personally. But he's also happens to be a prolific scoring guard. So, anyways, hey Trent, did you want to talk about how the 5 games in? Do you want to just sort of break down the West and East, sort
Yeah,
of
let's start with
one?
the East.
Okay,
We'll start by division like we did last week. I think
all
that's
right.
something we
Well,
can
you
do it
start
weekly.
off. I'm going to
All right,
grab
well,
my phone and my cheat sheet here.
I got my iPad, so we're good.
Yeah.
So we'll start at the Atlantic. So Atlantic Division, we both picked Boston obviously to win, and right now they're 4-1. They look like the best team, or one of the best teams in
And
the entire league.
Porzingis is not even back.
Exactly. They just have a. I mean, again, I think what people forget about teams that are good is that it's not just the star players. It's teams that can play 7, 8, 9 guys, but those guys that come in the game know their role. They're
Yeah,
not trying to do like Pritchard comes in, he knows what he's in there for. He's in there to
exactly. I was
handle
just
the
going to say
ball,
that.
run the offense, shoot and make open shots.
He's playing
And
28 minutes and a half, eh? I mean,
so
whoa.
so so though the best teams have the best benches and the best role players because those guys come off the bench
Depth,
and they
depth,
understand what they're supposed
quality
to
of
be doing.
talent.
Yeah,
Everybody knows where they fit in.
like you watch Boston and you see it. They bring in guys off the bench and it doesn't miss a beat. Whereas
Yeah,
other teams, you bring guys off the bench and then you're like, okay, what's happening here now? Like what just
yeah,
happened, right? The,
yeah,
the flow of the game changes, all that. So
yeah.
again, Boston looks like Boston. Knicks, I mean, a couple injuries again to start, but again, we're only 4 or 5 games in, right? To
Yeah, we're
say
5 games,
team's
really.
500, ooh, let's get worried. The Knicks will be fine. And the Nets, I kind of a little bit surprised. I mean, I see that Ben Simmons already had to have a day off for back uh, uh, a rest day for his back, like back maintenance or whatever they call
Don't
it.
tell me you drafted him in the late
No,
rounds. You still have
no,
him?
I didn't draft him. I picked him up as a free agent. And I dropped him already. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
figured so.
But he did put up a game of like 7, 10, and 6. Like he
Yeah, and then
puts
he
up.
doesn't do anything for a month.
Well, then he doesn't play for a month.
Well, because his back is
Yeah.
screwed or
And then
whatever.
the Sixers, I mean, the Nets are there, but again, 5 games in, the Sixers, they're a hot mess. I love Nick Nurse, but
Yeah, me
they're
too.
a hot mess, man, with the injuries and guys not playing, and I just they're broken right now for me.
You know, when you're relying on, and I like Kelly Oubre. I think he's gotten better. He had a really good year with Charlotte last year. But at the end of the day, is he going to be a guy that you can count on to give you wins? I don't know. I think maybe he's better as a sixth or seventh man coming off the bench if they're healthy,
Well,
and
when
they're
he
not.
came to the Sixers last year, that's what he was doing. He was
Yeah,
basically coming off the bench, and that's the
yeah.
type of he's not a starter. He's not a guy that you're winning a championship with as a starter. He just isn't.
He doesn't
I mean,
need to be, and he's got such an ego, and he's so full of himself that he could be 10th man, and he'd still be in love with himself.
yeah. And
You know
then
what I mean?
The Raptors, unfortunately, we said what we're going to get out of the Raptors this year.
Wow.
They're playing hard.
Yeah.
Grady Dick is going nuts.
They're playing hard. The
Yeah,
half the team's injured.
they're
Like
playing hard,
how do
and
you
Grady
go
Dick,
through an
those go
entire
together really
summer?
well. Right?
How do you go through an entire summer league, preseason, and half the team is still injured? Like,
Yep.
come on, man. And not only are they half injured, they have zero depth. I mean,
Yeah.
Scotty Burns is out 3 to 4 weeks with an orbital fracture. That's a killer.
Yeah.
Emmanuel quickly has not even played
Yep.
in the preseason and in 5 games into this, and we need him. He's a very talented point guard. And Barrett finally was injured, and thank God it wasn't that serious because he had the last 36 games of last year with the Toronto. He
Yeah.
rediscovered himself because he found his home. It's his
Yep.
home away from home. He's from Toronto,
Yep.
and
No.
then you look at the big Austrian. He's been playing fantastic basketball the
Yeah.
opening
Portal.
game.
Yeah.
Defense,
Plays hard.
he's holding down. He's legitimate seven. And then you've got guys like, I love Kelly Olynyk. I love Canadian basketball players. Kelly's got a dodgy back. And Kelly gets back in and he's playing 28, 29 minutes. He's going to give you 11, 12 points, 6, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a couple of threes, a couple of steals. He'll just feel and you don't have to run a single play for him. The guy that drives me nuts, and they picked him up, and I don't know why they did, is Bruce Brown.
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, he is on the injured reserve because apparently, in a country and western bar, this is what it says on the Associated Press. Bruce Brown was poked in the eye by his own oversized cowboy hat. And as he got poked in the eye, he dropped his drink, fell to the ground, and his belt buckle, his Wrangler belt buckle, got caught under his shoulder.
Oh,
And I mean, it's just
I
the
can't.
cowboyism is caused. That's the first time I've ever heard a basketball player getting injured by his cowboy hat and his belt buckle.
He
Personally, I
looked like
think it's personally I think it's his Wrangler jeans are a little too tight.
he looked like Woody from Toy Story on the bench the other night.
I'm telling you, man, it's so weird. It's
But
just to each their
two
own.
things. Two things. I agree with you on the Raptors. Most of the stuff here is, but two things.
They're
One, we didn't
terrible.
mention
They're
is
terrible.
Grady Dick. Grady Dick's actually playing well.
Well, that
So
was
that's
just the injuries. I mean, that's why
well,
Grady Dick's playing well.
sure, but he's getting a chance, and he's actually showing
Yeah,
that he's improved from last year.
absolutely,
That's all I was looking for as a fan. A second year
absolutely.
player, barely played last year.
Yeah,
He's showing that he maybe is an NBA player, a regular NBA player. He's improved. And
he is.
secondly,
He is a much better version of Kevin Herter.
no team in the NBA is going to have a winning record if Kelly Olynyk is playing 25 minutes. That guy is not going to play 25 minutes for the Raptors. That guy is done. He's a stiff. And
Oh,
I
I
know that you're a
completely
fan.
disagree. I
He's had some
completely
good days.
disagree.
I,
And
that's
and,
fine. We can disagree,
and
but
no, I
that
know,
guy's
but
not playing 25 minutes for the Raptors. It's not happening.
the thing is all of the partying that you've done over the last decades has destroyed so many millions of brain cells that you have blackout brain cell moments where you forget that Kelly Olynyk, when he was with the Houston before he got
I
traded
don't
to
forget.
Boston, was averaging
He's not a
21
good
points a
player.
game, 7 rebounds,
Sure.
3
That's,
threes, 4
that's
assists, a
years ago.
steal and a half, and that was legitimate. Those stats aren't and he is if you take a look at the Raptors roster,
This is my
they're
don't
terrible.
this is my don't care face of what Kelly Olynyk did in Houston.
That's
Nobody
the
cared.
face. That's the face you have all the time. But the thing is,
Nobody cared.
I only brought it up because he's very versatile for a 7-footer,
Hey,
and he's Canadian. And we're
hey
talking
man,
about Canadian team.
yeah, he always shows up for the Canadian national team. I'm a Kelly Olynyk fan. He was a good player
Yeah,
in college. He's been a good
yeah.
player in the pros. He's had a good
No, he's
career.
not going to win you a championship. I
But he
agree.
ain't playing 25. If he plays 25 minutes, we are trying to get the number one pick then if he's playing
Well,
25
he
minutes.
needs to because there isn't a legitimate backup big. And if you think Chris Bouchard is that, you're
Boucher. Yeah.
Boucher, whatever. Exactly. I don't even know the guy's name.
He's
I
five
can't
times
believe he's in
better
the
than Olynyk.
NBA. To be honest.
Dude, he's a
Um,
better player than Olynyk right now. So,
I
all right,
mean,
moving on. Moving on, because we could argue about you love for Kelly Olynyk. So,
no, it's not my
um,
love. It's just respecting what they can bring to the table.
sure. So,
Yeah.
Central Division, the team that we kind of talked about said that would be probably could be a surprise. I mean, they could have been in the Eastern Conference Final last year. Is Cleveland? Them being 5-0 again, only 5 games in.
Yeah.
Kind of what we expected to see from them. I mean, they're a well-rounded team.
Yeah.
Mobley has improved, and he was a good player anyways.
Yeah.
So smooth for a big man, such a smooth, graceful game
Yeah, he
for
is.
what
Very.
position he plays. And then you have Jared
He's
Allen.
eloquent and
Yeah,
long.
that's a good word for it. And then you have Jared Allen, who's had 17 boards and like 4 blocks the other night with 20 points. And then, like you said earlier before we got started, well, now you have Garland and Mitchell getting some synergy together, knowing how to
Ye-
play together after a full year. I mean, let's be honest, they probably only played, if I was to look back, I bet you they probably only played 50 games together last year
Not
because
not even because both of them were injured for a large
so
percentage of the year.
I think what Cleveland's doing, I don't think you and I are super surprised. I mean, again, it's 5 games in, they're 5-0. They're not going to go undefeated, and they're not going to win 74 games or anything like that. But
No, I think
they're
it's a good point, and I think their general manager has done a very good job of picking up and holding on to some key parts and picking up some guys and making some nice trades and
yep,
signing the foundation of the 6, 7, 8 that they have, and the twin towers of 7-footers. A lot of
uh,
teams aren't using that, but this is very effective because neither one of them is really a 3-point threat.
nope,
Although they're both looking into it. If they're open, they got to take it. But the backcourt I think is the key with Garland and Donovan. These guys are very talented, and the new coach. No one's going to talk about the new
yeah,
coach because he's off to a hard start. He didn't do anything. Well, he is
yeah,
like he is 100% committed and dedicated, and I love coaches like that. And not all of them are. I mean, you look
yeah.
at the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, and
Well, we'll get into them. Don't worry.
yeah, of course. Anyways, go on.
So next is the Bulls. Kind of surprising. Again, only
Yeah.
5 games in. The biggest surprise for me is Zach LaVine is scoring 23 a game and he's shooting 50% from the field. So we
Yeah.
know that that's not going to continue
Well,
whatsoever.
he's also healthy, and we know that's not going to continue.
That's not going to continue either. So unfortunately, so the Bulls again, like we said, by the end of the year, yeah, maybe they're in the 8th spot or something like that. But this
They're better.
again,
They better than they were last year.
Yeah, they're better than they were last year.
I
So,
think
and then
I think the Aussie they got who can
yeah,
play.
Giddy's averaging almost 6 assists a game
Yeah,
right
and
now.
Yahoo actually added the point guard to his
Okay.
now it's point guard, shooting guard, small guard. So thanks very much for that, bozos.
And then you
And
got
then Kobe White is
yep,
really a dynamic player,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
got the craziest hair in the NBA. I love the kid.
yeah, man.
I'm a big fan of the coach. And yeah, so I mean, what who else you got on that Chicago
When it comes
team
to
that?
hair, though, the best hair in the league is the fro that Jared Allen rocks with the
Yeah,
headband. I mean,
yeah,
come on, he doesn't get better than that.
yeah. I
So,
think
uh,
Kobe White's got a little bit more wild.
yeah,
It's a little
yeah,
crazier.
more sideshow Bob kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So what's
but
next?
then we got the Pacers, and I think
Yeah,
they're kind of underperforming right now. They've had a bit of a slow start. I think Nemhart's hurt now, but our Canadian kid Mathurin dropped like 30 the other night,
yeah,
coming
yeah. I
like
mean, he's
25
hit
a
and
minute.
miss, right? But now he's going to be in the starting lineup, and
Yep.
he's a scorer. He
Yeah,
is
he is.
absolutely a scorer.
He's a
And
volume.
that's what the Pacers do, Trent. They put up 125 points a game.
Yeah, well, and that's right now the problem for them right now is they're scoring 115 and they're giving up 120.
Right,
Well, I mean, whereas we look
right.
at Cleveland, who's 5-0, they're
Yeah.
scoring 125 and only giving up 107. Well,
Well,
that's
interestingly enough, and I was going to bring that up when you mentioned Cleveland, is that they lead the NBA by .03 in scoring.
yeah,
They're the number one scoring team in the NBA, and they're also the number one defensive team in the NBA. Hence, they're 5-0.
yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure, right? It
Yeah,
goes together like the plus minus we talked about. They're a plus
yeah,
18. They're only
yeah.
they're only one of like 6 or 7 teams in the league that are plus
Very
overall.
impressive. Very impressive. I love watching them play too. By the way.
Then we got your team, the team that you kind of picked that I said was going to have a down year, and you said no. I think they're Lillard's healthy and all that, and that's Milwaukee.
Mm.
They're a hot mess,
Oof.
and I don't think it's just a 5 game thing. I mean,
Wow.
it's
I think I was really off there. I mean, there's no Middleton. They've got
uh,
another injury, but honestly, I watched that game last night and they lost by 24, and Lillard shot .083. What is that possible?
geez,
Like
you can't even do that in the NBA 2K, Paul.
I've never done that my entire life. And by the way, 2K was probably my worst performance because Trent used to just love playing 2K with me NBA because he just destroy me. We play 1,000 games and I don't think I won one. It
No,
was
you've never
just
won. No,
yeah. I got close a couple times.
but yes, the thing about Milwaukee, like, and we had talked about them, is the big thing I see is what you talked about coaches before. You got two guys that are sitting on the bench in Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that they probably go out, hit a blunt, and have a beer before the game starts, and they just sit on the bench and do nothing. They're not that involved. I mean, they need something. I mean, again, the biggest mistake Milwaukee made is a half a year after you win the championship, you're firing your coach,
yeah, yeah.
the guy who
Stupid.
got
And he
you
had a winning record.
because
Like
of Giannis. So
but you
Giannis,
know what happened though? You know what happened is they brought Doc in as a consultant before they fired him, and Doc
right?
says, "Yeah, you better fire him." But I think once you fire him, I think it's better you hire me. Like,
Yeah.
bias? No, not
So
at all.
Milwaukee right now is, I wouldn't even say they're disappointing. I mean, I didn't think, again, it's 5 games, they're 1-4,
I
but
know it's early. They need Middleton back. Doc needs to get a good rotation right now. Their
yeah,
bench is terrible, and at the end of the day, it, Doc is the one that needs to take the blame because
yeah,
he doesn't know what he's doing.
yeah. And then you got the Detroit Pistons, and they're doing what we thought they'd do. So, as Dennis Green, an old football coach, says, we know what they were. We know what they thought we thought whatever it was. It's like we knew what they were when the season started, and they're
Yeah.
proving us right. So we're right about something, and that was
Well,
them.
on a
They've,
positive note, they're better than last year and the year before
they're
and
more
the year
competitive.
before that.
I agree. I agree. They are more competitive.
And Ivy's starting to play with
Yep.
confidence because the coaches have confidence in him. What the last coach who just signed an 8-year contract and just raped and pillaged that franchise, he didn't like him and didn't play him, and he destroyed the guy's confidence. And that's
Yeah.
what coaches can do.
It's too
And
bad
he's
because I
done
like
that
him,
multiple times in past teams.
and I like Monte Williams. He seemed like he's a
Uh,
pretty good coach, but
yeah,
he
he's a
definitely,
nice man. He's had some real tragedy in his life, but I can't stand him as a coach.
yeah, he didn't do much there for sure. And
Oh,
then we
he
got
got paid. He got
and then
paid.
we got the Southeast. The team I said that I thought be right there, Orlando, right now is 3-2. I mean, they suffered some bad news the other night with
Dude,
Banchero's.
you suffered some bad news. You drafted Paulo, right?
Dude, he was going off too.
I
He had
know. He
50
had
there.
50. He had
Oh,
50 the other night.
yeah, with like 14 boards and like like he had a crazy game. And
Yeah,
then he
yeah.
had like 30 again after that. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
going to be
no.
a big blow. So the Wagner brothers
Huge.
are going to have to pick it up for
You know,
them. But
Mo's never played power forward. He's always been a center. So I think they play. I think they go big and they go Mo at center and they go Wendell Carter at power
yeah,
forward.
Wendell Carter, yeah. And then I mean, they hopefully they can survive it because, like I said, they're one of those teams that's I don't outright root for them, but they're a fun team to watch.
I
They are.
love
Yeah.
watching them. Except their backcourt is
Uh,
probably one of the most infuriating backcourts in the NBA. I don't like any of the backcourt. They
they
gave
get,
Suggs
I
150
know.
million. I'm
Yeah.
like, my God, man.
Yeah. They gave him a
Like,
lot of money.
and Black, nice kid, but what happened there?
And then you got the Heat at 2-2, the
Yeah,
Wizards at 2, the Hornets at 2-2, and the Hawks at 2-2. So
yeah,
that division is basically honestly, I said this at the start of at our first show. I thought Orlando was going to win that division. I thought
yeah,
they were the best team. This
yeah,
hurts that injury. I think those other four teams, like I told you about the Heat, I just think that nucleus. I think it's time for a change in Miami. I think they've kind of, if this is the last dance, let's say for them,
yeah.
that's fine. But I think that nucleus needs to change in Miami.
Yeah,
And
and guess who knows that? Pat Riley knows it, and the rumors are that they're going hard after the Greek Freak.
yeah, that's what I've heard too. But they got to get rid of Jimmy Butler. Get rid
Yeah,
of that
well, I
guy.
mean, he's a cancer.
I mean, guy
He's a
plays
cancer.
30 games a year,
No,
and
he
then
plays 50 games, and then
yeah,
he just finds any way to. Then he focuses on his big head coffee company and his own big head.
yeah,
I who knows? I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what. I'm not a
But
fan,
the
and he's
Wizards are
30.
actually the team that I'm kind of surprised about. Got a couple of young
Yeah,
guys that are playing really well.
yeah.
The one young rookie is
Below.
has yeah, he's really stepped in and
He's a second year player,
yeah,
French.
yeah.
Billow,
So
he's going to be their superstar. That's what they're
yeah,
grooming him for. That's why they got rid of Denny Avida
right,
because they wanted to free him up. And I picked him up on any of my 8 teams. I think I picked
right,
him up on 5
right. Yeah, well, it's and
because
Jordan
he's
Jordan Poole's
six
even playing
nine.
well. I mean, Jordan Poole's even playing
Not a
well.
fan, but yeah, it's about
Me
time.
either, but you know, I mean, the best thing I could say. The only time I was a fan of Jordan Poole was seeing him get punched in the face, but
That was
that's
yeah,
kind of nice.
yeah, that
But
was unfortunate. But
it was unfortunate, but he probably
look at the
deserved
guy
it.
throwing the fist.
Yeah, well,
Has anger issues. You got to lay off the
Mr.
booze, I think.
Mr. Triple
Um,
Single.
and then yeah, no, Mr. Triple Single.
Charles
I think
Barkley's the
that's
best.
it's one of the best. Oh, I love Barkley.
Charles
He's
is the
awesome.
best. Yeah, he's the best.
But and the other thing is Vacilunas and the big man.
Yep.
If you just trust the guy, give him some looks, he'll give you double doubles
Yeah.
and drop
Every night.
dimes and get the occasional block. And you have to work him into the rotation. And then they got the pretty boy coming off the bench, who's I think he's vastly underrated. He's Kispert.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He can shoot the rock. He's got
Surfer.
deep. And then the rookie they got I call him the Bobby, and the young point guard they have is going to be. He reminds me of a couple of point guards. He reminds me of
Is that
uh
Kula baby?
yeah
Yeah. Yeah.
No Kula Bila Kula is the
Yeah.
6'9" French kid.
Yeah.
He's going to be he's their superstar on that team. They're grooming him for that. But anyways,
Like,
what's up with the next as you not I was calling them conference, so got my
yep.
wrong sport, but
So division in the West, we'll start with like we did last week. So we go straight
sure.
down. Like is the Northwest.
Yeah.
Basically how we called it. I said it was going to be Oklahoma City. I said Denver, then Minnesota, and right now it's Minnesota, Denver. Again, they're 500 at
Yeah.
2-2. But
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, best defense, only team in the league. Actually,
Yeah.
sorry, them and Golden State, who I did pick by the way.
Right.
But only those two teams in the league are holding opponents under 100 points.
Yeah.
That's in this day and age when you're holding people like I think yeah, like they're holding people to 94.8 a game, Oklahoma City. That is impressive in this day and age with the way the rules are set up for offense.
It really
And
is, and it just shows you their depth of the team. Their first and second units play defense. They play together.
yeah,
Probably the best GM in the NBA, in my opinion.
oh, man, he
They have
is.
36 draft picks stashed. 36.
dude,
Are
if the
you
Clippers
kidding me?
were to they have an opportunity if things were to go the right way, they could actually have the number 1 pick overall. So could you imagine if they got number 1 and picked Cooper Flag?
Again?
Like, are you
Oh,
kidding me?
that'd be crazy.
Oh my gosh. Like, they
That
just it's crazy, man.
and that kid's ready right now. He's
Oh,
ready in
dude,
the NBA. He's going to come
dude,
in and he'll give you 20 and 10 because
I don't
all
care for
the
Duke.
NBA guys doing the Olympics, they were playing against him and they were all just like, well, this kid's unreal.
Yeah, but so those 3 teams, I picked those 3 teams to be the top 3 in the West, just,
Yeah.
like, overall, and, I mean, they're gonna be there. Those 3 teams are gonna be probably in the top 5 when it's all said and done at the end of the year. I mean, that division, it's almost unfair that those 3 teams are in the same
What
division.
division are you talking about?
The Northeast with
You're
the
right, right.
Thunder, the T-Wolves, and the
Yeah.
Nuggets, like,
Yeah.
and then you get Portland and Utah, so we can just flip a coin and not talk about either of those 2 trash
No, I
organizations.
mean, they're both horrible. Utah, I mean, Danny's trying to copy the GM, Sam Presti over at OKC
Yeah, yeah,
and following that whole thing. And he's well on its way and they could
yeah.
tank out. And Laurie Markkinen, I don't know what happened to him, what he did in Finland this summer. If he's found a new hobby that's not working out for him, but he's
Yeah,
just the first 4 or 5 they're 0-5. The only team in the NBA that's 0-5, and they're just horrible. Their point guard shoots
they're
28% from the field.
they're trash.
And he's a talented young man, but he has turnover problems and he can't shoot a lick.
Yeah, I have
Keon
no
George.
problem Utah sucking. I can always cheer
Yeah,
against
they're
them.
gonna move. They're gonna move. They're gonna go back to Clarkson, and they're gonna put Keon
Right.
to the bench, and they're gonna bring back Crazy Hair.
Karl Malone?
Um, Karl Malone, please don't. I can't stand him. Just
Greatest power
can't stand.
forward of all time.
Yeah, yeah. Have another bowl.
It's
Um, yeah. I mean, seriously, let's just talk about the 21st century, shall we?
all right, so we'll go to the Pacific because we don't need like I said, there's not a lot to say about Portland and Utah, so,
No,
Pacific,
Portland's
I'm
terrible.
actually
Utah's worse.
quite surprised, the way Phoenix has started, that they've had a great start.
I
Uh,
called it.
them and Golden State are 4-1. I mean, I just,
Golden
Golden
State's
State,
surprising, actually,
they are in because they're doing it with all their young talent. They're not doing it with the regular Steph
and
Curry
Curry's
and
injured the
all
last
that.
3
Yeah.
days.
But they are their young talent. They play hard. I mean, hey, Steve Kerr's a great coach. I
Great
don't
coach.
people. I mean, that guy he's unreal, man. Like he
And
is.
how many NBA championships has Steve Kerr been a part of now?
I don't know. He's like,
9?
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
9.
it's yeah. I think it's more than 9, isn't it? Wasn't he 3 in San Antonio or 2? No, I guess it probably is 9. Yeah,
It
probably.
was,
Yeah,
but he also won. He also won a. No one talks about it. He won a champion in the G League before he got
that's right. So
and
Phoenix
yeah,
and Golden State. I mean, the Lakers are 3-2. They blew one game for sure. I mean, you and I were talking about it. Is
yeah, I watched
uh,
it,
when you get up by 25, I don't care that it's the first quarter. How do you lose that game? Those games.
dude.
I mean,
You if you're up 25, run him into the ground. Get it up to
yeah,
45.
yeah. It's just crazy what kind of went on. The Pelicans did it the other night too. Charles Barkley was mocking them on Inside the NBA about they should be embarrassed after losing the game they lost, being up
Yeah.
20. And
Well,
but
it's embarrassing. I mean, even the Clips, that shows you the problem with the Clips. They lost 21 points to
yeah,
Phoenix, and they
yeah,
have zero bench. They're
yeah,
running their starters into the ground, and their starters aren't that good.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
They gave Man $150 million. Like, what has he done?
Norman Powell's playing great. It's good for him. He's playing pretty well so
Norman
far.
Powell, I love Norman Powell. He's a scorer, he's a
Yeah,
shooter,
just a
and
good
it's about
athlete.
time he gets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like I'm glad he's getting some shine. I think Norman
And
playing a lot more.
Zubac, I think your point
Yeah,
about Zubac playing really well. It's about time, but he's a late bloomer and very solid, fundamental big man, and he doesn't get injured. He's just a grinder.
dude, good athlete for a guy that size too.
Yeah,
Gets up and down
yeah,
the floor. Like he's not
yeah.
lagging it up and
Well,
down
he's
the
lost
floor.
he's lost 40
Yeah.
pounds.
Well, he
You
probably
know,
got on the same Ozempic plan that James Harden got on. So I mean, you know, no chicken wings and strippers and Ozempic and Gatorade. Who knows these fools, man? So,
Mountain
uh,
Dew, Mountain Dew,
but yeah, Mountain Dew, diet Mountain Dew. So the
even
Lakers
worse.
and the Kings right now, I think they're trying to. What happens, and you've been on teams that when somebody new shows up, there's a dynamic that changes. I think that the Kings are a little bit of growing pains.
Oh, you
Uh,
think DeRozan did that? I think he's the one person that would never upset a new
no,
team
no, no.
because he's
It's
just
not just
such a cool cat.
No, not upset in a bad way. It's just
Right.
that the cohesiveness of how you were playing offense, the switches on D, the
Yeah.
stuff that goes on,
Yeah.
you can't practice that. That
No.
has to come in. I mean, you can practice it all preseason, but
Yeah.
when the lights are on is when you have to. And I think there's a little adjustment period with DeRozan and Fox and Murray. Like they're just, and they're going to get it because they're good
Oh
players.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I still think Sacramento is going to be there in the end. They're going to be in the top 5. I think in the West. The Lakers, I don't know. They're one game, they look like the glory day Lakers, and the next game they look like they're old and or just the young guys aren't going to play hard or play good, right?
For
Like
folks that are watching
Hachimura,
the show and enjoy the show, you'll realize that there's certain teams at Trent just, regardless of what their talent is or what they're doing or how they're winning,
it's not true.
or more importantly, how they're losing, because then you'll hear it,
Yes.
is just teams that he just can't find any glimmer of hope that there's a
Hey,
small light in his heart
if
for
you want
them in any possible way.
if you want to celebrate though, hey, Lakers were losing by 22 and Bronny James got his first NBA basket.
Look,
Yay!
the whole
What a
Bronny
joke.
James thing's it's a scam. It's a sideshow,
It's
and
so
we all
many.
know why it's there. The greatest player, potentially the greatest player in the history of the
No,
NBA, certainly
not.
statistically.
Yeah, that's it.
I know you're in.
Nope.
Trent has a timeshare in Michael Jordan's hotel in Charlottetown, and
Nope.
who knows what goes on in those rooms, but he loves him
Ain't no
some
party
Michael
like a
Jordan.
titty party. Dude, he's the best
Oh
statistical player of all time. He's not
yeah,
the greater. And you know
no,
what? That's
sorry,
something
isn't
we'll do on this
he's
show,
not. He's
the
not
kinda like
actually.
the
No,
kinda
you're
like you
wrong.
do.
You're wrong.
No, no,
And we'll do
no.
a show on this,
We'll
and we'll
do a
talk
show
about it
on
for an
top 10
entire
and
hour, and I will show you how wrong you are. There
okay,
are two players statistically that are better statistically than Michael Jordan than any other player in the history of the NBA. But we'll save that for another show
sure.
because
Yeah.
I want to have some fun with you.
Yeah, sure. Well, it'll be fun because I'll just poke holes in
You're
it,
going to be
and
wrong.
this whole Bronny James thing was so manufactured.
It's
I got
just
a buddy of
brutal.
mine I
Let's
got a
not
buddy of
waste.
mine
Let's not waste the
I know.
airtime.
The thing I like about it is I got a buddy of mine, and this shows you how manufactured it is.
Right.
If I'm Utah, there's no way LeBron James is gonna go to Utah. I draft Bronny James. And then I go to the Lakers. Okay, what are you going to give him for? What are you giving me? I mean, you get some draft capital for him because they were going to do it anyways.
Hmm.
The league manufactured that whole thing. Nobody drafted them. We want this moment. Even the moment of him playing in his first game,
Yeah.
they're coming out from a timeout. It's such bullshit. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't buy
Yeah.
into it at all. And
Yeah.
if the Lakers keep losing, great. Keep playing him. Play him in meaningful
No,
minutes.
they're not going to. He's going down to the G League. Everyone knows it.
I think what bothers me most, and this we can talk about this another time too, but is sports always felt like the last bastion that there wasn't any nepotism because to play, you have to earn that spot to
So,
play.
Trent, this is the first time it's happened in the history of the NBA. Come on,
It's,
man.
that's what I'm
Don't
saying.
throw the nepotism thing. I mean,
But
it's
it is.
true. That's
But
why it
this is
happened, but
nepotism.
it's
Yeah,
only the first time.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Sports has always been that last bastion of where you didn't get nepotism. It
It's not
wasn't
no
that.
nepotism
That's what it
is
is. So,
enshrined in
of course,
civilization in every possible
for sure.
business situation, and that nepotism is the best part about nepotism is that hopefully you're on a beneficial end of nepotism
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
in a positive way.
Maybe.
Otherwise, and if you're not a part of that conversation
Sure.
because
All right.
it's an
So we'll go.
elitist thing.
It's another thing to talk about for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely. And
all
it's a good point,
right.
though. It's a good point.
So southeast or southwest. You
Right.
didn't bring up this game, but big win for the Rockets last night
Yeah,
against
I
Dallas.
watched it. I watched it.
Good on them. They're actually, you know what? Again, we talked about them kind of being on that bottom part in the West. They probably still will be if they even make the
Mm,
playoffs. I mean, again, 5 games in,
yeah,
but
it's
they
too
actually are.
early.
I do like their big man. I like that kid. Um, and they're
Shengun.
yeah, and they're kind of fun team to watch. They get up and
Yeah,
down, and
they got depth. They got youth. They got
yeah,
athleticism. They've got a great coach.
yep.
I like what he's done, and I'm a big fan of watching Houston. The one disturbing thing watching the game last night was I
Oh,
felt that I was watching an ABA game from the 70s.
yeah,
The amount Shepard's stash was
yeah.
probably the worst pornographic mustache from the 70s I've ever seen. And he kept on standing behind the big Kiwi, whose stash is even worse. because he's,
Yeah.
7 foot, 300 pounds.
It's
He's
very,
got
it's very
and
Harry
and
Reid-ish.
Reed, yeah, Reed's standing behind him, looking at him, and he's like, it looks like he's pissed. He's like, your stash is better than mine. Mine's just like,
Oh, it's so
you know,
70s porn. It's so
oh,
good.
it's terrible,
So
man.
good.
It's just
I love it.
absolutely
I love it.
brutal.
It's Movember, man. So,
Well, and that's the other thing I was thinking, because it really is November as of,
yeah, Movember,
no,
right? So,
right.
but,
So
yeah,
that's why they're
it's
doing
very
it. And in
it's
that case,
very
why? What about the rest of the 98% of 450 players in the NBA?
well, half the league is 19 and younger, so they probably
No,
can't go,
half
but
half the league has fake beards
yeah,
because they
exactly.
want to look cool, especially the
And then
big white guys,
and
because
then
they
they
want
wear
to look
fake
like a banger in the 70s and 80s that
and then
was
they
a
wear fake
stiff.
and then they wear fake sunglasses or fake,
Uh,
glasses and things that make them look smarter.
did you
It's
see
just
some of those the Halloween costumes last night?
yeah. Yeah,
Good Lord, man. You're a millionaire and you wearing that? Come on,
yeah.
man.
I
Like,
think that's you know what? I think that was perfect timing for
it
that
was.
Dwayne Wade statue right before Halloween. That abomination. It's such a great
Who
moment when he
is
jumps up
who
on the
is
score
that?
table.
That's
I
not
know.
Dwayne Wade, man. That
Not
is like the statue's like Uncle Bob after 14 beers.
oh, it's
That
not
is
good.
just it's the
It's not
worst
good.
statue I've ever seen in my life, man. It's terrible. Where are we? We're at 45 minutes, 46 minutes. Where are we,
No, we're
Trent?
good. We're good. So Houston and Dallas at 3-2,
Yeah.
Memphis at 3-3. We talked about Memphis, and it's always about the health thing. If they're healthy and they can stay decently healthy,
Yeah.
they're a team I'd be scared to play because of how they
Yeah.
play and the talent that they have. Right?
Yeah.
They do. They have a good coach.
Yeah.
Um, the Pelicans, they're just like I mean,
Terrible.
and the
Daniel
Spurs
Tice, six
and the
eight
Spurs,
starting
yeah,
center. Are you kidding me?
and the
Like
Spurs as well.
he
I mean,
won the World Cup with Germany, and they did an incredible job.
right,
And Dennis Schroeder's playing out of his mind
right,
in the East.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. No, so I mean, I mean, I think San Antonio will get there. I don't even know if they're a playoff team still. They're really young, but I think the Wembyama thing, like you talked about, to get after the kid 5 games in, it's like, okay, you do know that he's gonna. I think the thing for him is, I read it last night in an article, is he has to stop trying to be like a Kevin Durant and being a guy who's a big jump shooter, and be more of a foul line in guy. I mean, shoot those shots because
he's
that
not
three
trying to be
pointer.
anybody else. He's not trying to be anyone else, Trent.
Sure,
He's
but
just
I'm
trying to
saying as
find
a game, right?
himself.
Exactly, he's 20 years old, and that's what people
Yeah.
forget. This guy's still learning how to play basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, and the only reason that we talk about him and how phenomenal he is just because he's a freak of nature. It's not because of all the skills. He has a lot of skills, including some strength to gain. I mean, he's 20 years old. It's crazy how the
Yeah.
potential that guy has in this league.
He's so charismatic, and
He's a good dude.
he's
Seems like a good dude.
oh,
Like,
he's an excellent dude, and
yeah,
he's been well brought up. His parents did a fantastic job.
yeah.
He's an intelligent young man. He is everything the NBA is salivating over to carry them into the next generation. He is a generational talent. There's no doubt.
So I think the other thing we can look at a little bit is just kind of stats halfway, 5 games in. I mean, I say you look at the top 5 point guys in the league. I don't think, I mean, Jokic at 31 he's playing out of his mind right now,
Yeah,
but he
yeah. Well,
has to.
he's carrying the
Yeah,
team. He's
yeah.
carrying them.
And I think there's an adjustment there. Again, what we talked about with Sacramento, I think there's a bit of an adjustment for Denver too. I
Yeah,
mean, Russell Westbrook's a special player, but he's a unique player in what he's capable of, right?
yeah,
And he's not this type of player that they've had necessarily. How he plays, the energy he plays with.
yeah.
He's not necessarily a great shooter, but he'll have nights where you think he's the greatest shooter in the world.
You
I
know what?
think sometimes
He's still electrifying.
he's such a good
He's still
athlete.
athletic. And
I think
and he's a great pickup for them because
I think so too.
I think your pickup in our fantasy team that we're both a part of with the the Canadian Bro Show, that's our logo,
Yep.
and you picked up Christian Braun. I think if you
Yep.
look at, nobody's talking about Christian Braun. If you look at the waiver wire right now in fantasy basketball, and you mentioned it, you saw it, you picked him up yesterday,
Yep.
and I can see why. I picked him up in one of my teams as well. The kid is playing
Steady, man.
exactly, he's playing the most fundamental basketball game that nobody's talking about in the NBA right across the board. His statistics, from the field goals to foul shots to three-pointers to scoring to rebounding, assists, steals, block shots, 1.8 block shot. He's one of the top guards in the NBA in block shots. Now, is
Yep.
that sustainable? Probably not, but his statistics, scoring, is exactly what 9-category fantasy basketball
Yep.
loves.
Yep.
Corey Kispert, same sort of dude. No one really talks about
He's
him.
gonna get you a block and a half a game. He's gonna get you a steal and a half a
Steal.
game.
Yeah.
You know, he's gonna get you 2 or 3 assists. He's gonna get you
He's going to
5 or
get you
6
more than 2 or
rebounds.
3 assists
No, but
because
I'm
he's
just
very
saying
unselfish. Yeah.
on average, though, he's gonna have nights where he gets 5 or 6, but he's gonna have nights where he
Yeah.
gets 2, right? And
But
on
the
average, it's
15
probably
points a
4.
game and the 6 rebounds. Wow.
It's yeah, he's doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He knows
No,
his
he's
role.
fundamentally sound. That's why.
He plays his role very well. There's no question about that.
And people don't realize he's 6'6".
Yeah, and he's an athlete. Like
Yeah.
he
And
can
he's a good
get
kid,
up
man. He
there.
looks like he's just a straight shooter.
And then Tyrone Maxey scoring 31 a game so far.
Woo.
Like, oh,
He
but
is.
again,
I love him.
you don't have again, that's touches, right? You don't have Embiid or George. So there's more shots right now for him.
I won a
I like
championship last year with him, and I picked him up. I've never picked him up before, and I got him on 2 teams this year. The guy he's relentless. He's exactly what they need.
I was a fan before he kind of blew up last year. I was already a fan because I just like how he played. He played so hard, played at
Yeah.
a really fast pace. Um,
And what a
and
nice, friendly cat, eh? He's just like he's so
yeah,
happy-go-lucky, and he's sincere. He doesn't probably party. He doesn't hit the strip club. He's probably not into the weed. And even though it's legal now in the NBA, or it
yeah,
is, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it is. They
yeah.
don't. Yeah. Anyways,
And then you got Anthony Davis on the Lakers scoring 30 a game right now. So I
wow,
mean,
he's playing the.
he's had a great
This is.
start.
I
Just
think
like that.
finally LeBron has got into his head about what he needs to do to cement himself and win an NBA championship. LeBron wants his 5th, and I think they believe, and I'm a Lakers fan,
I know,
and
I
I
know.
love the Lakers. We can get there. We'll talk about
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but he's playing out of his mind, and I picked him up.
yeah.
And it's funny, Trent. On one of my teams, I went for a power nap and I didn't set my alarm. I think I told you this, but I auto drafted all of my players,
Right.
and I've actually won 2 championships in 20 years where I fell asleep or I had to work or go out or forgot it was the wrong day, where I won championships on auto picks, where it was just random. And this team is one of the best teams that I have of 8 teams that I was
Well,
power napping.
it's probably in a league with some geriatric people
No,
on the
no,
bench.
all my leagues are really tough because I go in the early vote.
I
I go in the early drafts, and all of them are like pro players like myself. Like we're into it. But my point is that he's one of the guys I got, and I would normally never take him because he never plays more than 50 games. But wow, is he playing fantastic to start off?
he is. And
Really,
I mean, again, if we look at, I mean, right now the way he's playing, I mean, he's legitimately could be the defensive player of the year
for
in
sure,
the league, right? Like he's
for
that good.
sure.
He's blocking shots, rebounds the ball.
Wemby should have won that last year, by the way.
I think Wemby should have won it last year. Yep, I agree. I think that was some
Come on,
prejudice.
man. That was
Rudy
just
Gobert's. Come on, give me a break. I
yeah.
mean,
Rudy is what he is, and it is what it is, and he's done great, and he's
I
you
just
know
laugh when I got to listen to people like. Again, it's always about the a nowism almost, right? We're in the moment and now, so they forget about the past. And I
yeah.
got a guy like Rudy Gobert who says, "Oh, well, I could lock down Shaq. Shaq would kill you. He would be dunking on you every play, Rudy, just like he did to Dikembe, because Dikembe was a better player than Rudy Gobert.
Oh my god.
And rest his soul, Dikembe,
Yeah.
my guy.
Yeah.
But
Rest in peace, man. I
it's
love
just,
McKimbo.
yeah, exactly. And it's just the fact that some of these players talk like that. It's going, guys, you're, you're in a league that the rules are so different that that help you, kind of thing. The rules are so for you to be able to score
Yeah.
the basketball now, like with no hand
Trent,
catch.
so
And
nice
the
to
game's
have you
so
on the
less.
Canadian Bro Show, bro. The content that you bring is just remarkable. Where are we now? Where are you?
Whatever you want, man. We can talk about whatever you want to end the
Well, we
show.
didn't really talk about the Lakers because you just don't like
We
them.
can talk about the league. Let's talk about them. Okay, bring it
Well, I
up.
mean,
Let's go.
I think the Lakers. I really think if they can stay healthy, of course, this is the same thing we talk about with every team. But if they can stay healthy, they, you know, obviously, I think they're going to be in the top 4 or 5. 4, I'm shooting for in the West, and if they get into the 4, I think it's a really good placement for them to get past the first, get into the second round. I think teams are going to be looking over their shoulder saying, I don't want to play them, especially now. And you look at what this new coach has done, it's really quite remarkable. I did not think this was a good choice at all. I'm not a huge fan as a player. And even when he was at Duke, although he had a pretty good career at 16 years, is pretty impressive. A lot of people didn't think he would last 6. But what he's done to their offense, and I mentioned the nuance in the first episode we did, and he's really trimmed the fat of a lot of NBA sets, and everybody uses the same sets. We've talked about this so
Right.
many times. It ends
Yep.
up being, transition, and then you go into, maybe 1 or 2 passes, and next thing you know it's a high pick and roll, and there's spacing. Everybody's standing around, and it's boring. But the Lakers are moving the ball, and guys that are benefiting or guys that need to benefit and didn't benefit in previous iterations is like Rui
Yep.
is really playing big. And so the latest rumor with the Lakers is they're trying to get Walter Kessler from
Yeah.
Utah. And when
Yep.
Danny doesn't want to give him anything. He just wants
Right.
to take from them. So they were saying we'll take Walter and we'll give you 3 first round, the only draft picks they have, all first rounders.
Right.
We'll give you 3 first rounders for Walter Kessler and D'Angelo because you need a point guard. And Danny Ainge said, no thanks.
Yeah. Who wants
I
to be?
think that was a great trade. I think that's a great trade. But the way Hendricks
It is a
got
great trade.
that
No question.
ugly injury that Hendricks, did you see that thing? The fractured tibia with an ankle thing?
Oh, dude,
Man,
the,
that
the
is
players the players looked at him and like turned away right away.
oh
Right. When
oh
the,
my God. I mean,
pretty
that
bad.
is just horrific. And we've
Yeah.
seen that before.
Yep.
But
Yep.
anyways, getting back to the Lakers, I think that you know, my surprise team is to win it all is the Lakers this year.
That's not a surprise because that's who you root
To
for.
me it
So,
is. And a lot of people don't think so. And you
well, they
don't.
have the greatest player of all time statistically. They should win.
Well, not the greatest players to he's top 3. I
Um,
can there's 2 more
again,
that are better, but
the Lakers,
anyways.
the Lakers are. I mean, it's the Lakers. They're probably going to be there in the end, and at least in the second round of the playoffs. And the other thing that works in their favor is they get every call. It's sickening to watch their
Yeah.
game.
I
It
don't
is.
believe that because you know
It's
how the
crazy.
refereeing in the NBA is.
Yeah, we can talk about that too
We
one
could
day.
do an episode just on refereeing if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, and just go
Um,
on a major rant for us. But
well, Scott
we're we're
Foster.
we're at listen, don't even mention these guys, some of these guys'
The
names
Lakers,
because
I'm with you. I think they're going to be there in the end because they're the Lakers, first of all. Plus, they have a lot
well,
of talent.
oh, they got a lot of talent.
Hillbilly Mamba's playing good, right? I mean, he
And
has,
this new coach, he's
yeah,
really coaching out of his
yeah,
brain. And we're approaching 58 minutes, Trent. Where are we at right now?
he's involved. Whatever you want to talk about, man. You want to
Well,
talk
no.
about your
Do you
Lakers?
want to do our? You're finished with all the divisions.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Good job on that, and thank you. And so let's go into predictions for the season. Let's finish
Sure.
up today with the predictions.
What
Um,
awards or
just across the board.
okay?
Who do you think is going to be the MVP this year?
Shea should
Ooh,
have been the MVP last year.
I agree.
I think Embiid, or I think Jokic should have won it the year Embiid got it. That was just a crybaby vote, and that was a bit of a racist vote because you got guys like Mark Jackson who didn't even have Jokic in his top 5 until he got busted and said, "Oh, I didn't realize it." Shut
Mark
up,
Jackson.
you're a
Mark
racist.
Jackson. Mama,
So
where
yeah,
goes that man?
so I
Shut
didn't.
up.
I think that Jokic
Oh,
easily could have won it 3 years in a row,
yeah,
but I think last year, I think Shea should have won it last year.
yeah,
I'm going to pick him this year.
yeah. Well, I mean, Jokic, if he
Him or
wins
Tatum?
this year, this will be his 3rd MVP,
No,
which is
he's got 3
he's
already.
got 3 now. I mean, this will be the 4th
Yeah,
if he wins this year, and he's in it. If he can
yeah.
stay healthy, he's in it for sure.
I'm going to go Shea from the West and Tatum from the East. Those would be my 2
Yeah,
picks right now to
I
start
would
the
have
season.
gone. I would have matched Tatum because he's just Boston,
He's
and
playing out of his mind right now. It's awesome.
he's just. But you know what? He's the reincarnation. He thinks he's the reincarnation of a young Kobe Bryant, and he wants to. He goes to bed at night talking to Kobe Bryant and
I
praying
I think
to
it's
him.
more. I think he's got a.
I'm telling you the truth. The guy
No,
is
I get it. I get it.
completely enamored.
Yeah, where guess what? You're not a real Celtic. I don't give a crap that you love Kobe Bryant and that's your idol. When you
Yeah,
wear a purple sweatband on your arm in the
yeah,
finals, you're a Celtic, dude. That is
yeah.
just blasphemy. Get
Oh,
it
come
together.
on.
Put it on your
You're
ankle or
looking for
something.
drama. You're looking for
I'm
drama.
just saying it for fun. I don't
No, but
care.
I agree
My
with you on
thing is,
Tatum
I don't
and
think it has anything to do with that. I think it
yeah.
has more to do with that he has something to prove after the least amount of playing time he got at the
Yeah,
Olympics with all those
of
other
course.
players.
Yeah, he's pissed. There's no doubt. He
More
has
about
an
that.
ego. But in the West, I'd have to say that I'm going to go with Anthony Davis if he can stay healthy. I
Yeah,
just think he's an unstoppable
legit.
force in nature. When he's this dialed in and healthy, and he hurt his hip last night or the day before, and they were talking about he's playing.
Yep.
This is the new. He's tired
Let's hope.
of being tired. And Braun has rubbed off on him, and I think they're one big man away, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But who do we got next? So what do you got like for?
I would say Anthony Davis is almost at the point where he's just tired of everybody slagging on him all the time, of never
Yeah,
being able to play.
and always being injured. It drives him nuts.
And I think he's tired of all the people just that give him a hard time about that
Yeah.
all the time. So,
Do you want to do all the categories, or you just want to do a couple each
if
episode?
you're good, if you got them written down, I don't have all of them sitting in
Well,
front of me.
they're written down.
Okay, so then you got defensive player of the year. Who do
Yeah.
you got right now? Let's start.
Well, I have to go with Wemby because they robbed him last year. But I think I go Wemby on the West, but I love Holmgren. He's playing out of his mind to start off
Three and
with.
a half blocks to
He's a
start the season.
great kid. What's that?
Yeah. 3.5 blocks a game to start the year.
Dude, I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
a lot.
why I had such a successful 20th fantasy season last year. Is I got Wemby and Chet
That's
on
ridiculous.
7 of my 8 teams in the first 3 rounds,
Yeah,
and I won 7 trophies last
yeah.
year. So it was because of those guys.
Yep.
But then on the defensive player on the East, man, there's nothing that just stands out in my mind. You know, is
Yeah.
it a guard? Is it a center? Is it a forward? I don't know, man. I don't even know if there's anyone in that. I really think it's gonna be Wemby or Chet. I could be wrong. I'd like to be able to if something jumped out of my mind on the East, but I just don't see it. Maybe the big man on the Cleveland Cavaliers, not Allen, because he gets blocks. Allen doesn't get a lot of blocks.
He's usually at 2.5 a game. I mean,
Yeah, well, he's at 2.8 right now, but
so
I would probably give him that right there.
yeah, in the East, he's
If
probably a good choice.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Porzingis, if he came back, he'd give you 2.5 blocks, and
Yeah.
they're going to be in the best team. So I think Boston, if they don't walk away from it this year, they're upset by someone like the Lakers or I don't know, man. So who's next?
Well, I would say I'm with you on the Wemby thing, but I also would say the way he's playing right now, Anthony Davis could be in the mix for defensive player of the year as well.
Absolutely. We said that earlier.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and the East, I don't know. The East is
Tough one, eh?
there's a lot of. It doesn't seem like anybody's really standing out. If anything,
Not yet. It's too
you got
early.
to look exactly. If anything, you got to look at a better team, and you'd
Yeah.
have to look at somebody from the Cavs like a Jared Allen or somebody. I mean, I don't know. The East is a bigger toss up. I don't think the defensive player of the year is coming from the East. I think it's
Yeah.
coming from the West.
I
Just
agree, and that's why I said my two. But
and then rookie of the
um,
year.
rookie of the year, it's a tough one. I would have gone with Eby the way I drafted him. I just totally believe in him. He's a Canadian, but he started off
With a
slow.
D. Edie with a D,
Yeah.
not EB.
No, I said Edie.
Oh, it sounded like EB on my end.
Well, I mean, because you're perhaps adjusted. Um, but that was my pick because I just feel that if Memphis gets healthy and Jean Morant stays healthy, Ja loves him and knows that it's easy baskets and get the kid going. But he does have his deficiencies. Um, it's really difficult right now with the rookies because it's just so early, and
Yeah, exactly.
80% of the league is 2-2 right now.
Yeah,
And a lot of guys there, a lot of coaches are getting establishing rotations, and rookies or guys
yeah,
are getting injured, and then rookies are forced in. Look at Atlanta; they're
yeah.
decimated by injuries.
I like that. That's the one rookie I do like is kind of
The
under the radar is
the French kid, yeah,
Daniel
yeah,
Dyson Daniels. Like he's actually third in the league or second in the league in steals. He's averaging
yeah.
2.5 steals a
He's
game.
also injured again, but
But he's injured right now. Yeah.
I
So
cut him and put Barrett on my rotation.
right. So I think that's a tough one. Defensive player or rookie of the year. It's
It's too early. We can talk about it later
Yeah,
episodes if
a
you
lot of
want.
young guys that get take it's tough to give, I mean, think about the top 5 picks in the league, right? In the draft,
Yeah,
they were all underclassmen, basically. The only guy that was up there was Shepard, and I
yeah.
mean, yeah, maybe he's that guy, right?
No, not with that stash. There's
And
no
then I would
way.
say, so comeback who would be comeback player of the year right now as we're going?
I don't know. I think we should do all these other ones at a later time and let
Yeah,
the
I'm with
league
you. So, I'd
unfold
say Zach
organically.
LaVine in the East right now, the way he's playing.
Who?
Zach LaVine, if he can stay healthy, he could easily be, comeback player of the year type,
Yeah, I
thing.
mean he's
So,
electrifying. He's athletic. He's still got his legs under him. If he can stay healthy, absolutely. But at 1:05, I think we've had an excellent second episode, Trent. I really
yeah,
enjoyed
my
it
man.
today. I just got a good feeling, and it was just a pleasure being with you again. And we've talked about this for so long, and to be able to finally do it, I'm like a kid in a candy store with a pocket full of dimes and nickels, and I'm just gonna go sugar out,
Yeah. Well,
and
I'll just wanna give a shout out to Eric out in Victoria. He's commented he's liking it, and, Jim
awesome.
Taylor in Lloydminster who's listening and enjoying it.
Eric
As
and
Paul
Jim, thank
as
you.
as as Paul has said before, it's very easy to subscribe to stuff on YouTube. You just put stuff in. It's not like you have to give too much information. But if you're watching it, like I know you guys are, hey, help us out. Give it a like, subscribe to it. We need subscribers to
Subscribe. We need
make that
subscribers.
happen,
I've got
right? So,
16 subscribers. I need 500
yeah,
in order
so
to get us up to where we are.
yeah.
And you know what? We will.
Yeah,
We will.
just keep listening, and we're having fun doing this, as you guys can
Yeah,
tell.
but we need your help. We really need your help. I mean, that's why everybody asks on YouTube. But as it says in my ticker below, the whole show says all of that as well. We're just trying to politely
Yeah,
remind people that it's very easy. On
yeah,
the bottom right hand corner of the YouTube channel is a little subscribe button. You just run your mouse over that, hit subscribe, hit a
yeah,
like, make a comment.
super easy. Yeah,
And nobody can argue that Trent Rowley of St. Paul's, Alberta is not the Barry White of Canadian basketball
there we go.
right now in the world. There's nobody can take that away. And I'm so
There we
glad that
go.
I got him.
I love it.
So
It's fun.
don't you even try to take away my man. I'll
No,
hunt
this
you
is fun,
down.
man. We're having fun doing this, and, just
What a
appreciate the
blast.
people
What a blast. Trent,
for
nice
listening.
seeing you figuratively, but physically, mentally, psychologically, listening to you.
Yeah,
What a great show. Thanks again. Everybody, we're going to wrap this up. Apologize if we're a little long winded, but basketball is a very hot topic. We have so much knowledge. So I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll look forward to seeing you. What do you think, Trent? Would be
next
maybe
week
on Thursdays for
next week, yeah.
Thursdays or Fridays or
Thursdays or
whatever?
Fridays, yeah.
Okay.
And
All
if we
right.
start seeing more and more people listening, hey, there's enough games we could go twice a week, so
That would be awesome.
yeah,
That would be
so
awesome. But in the meantime,
yeah,
it's Paul Bale with,
Trent Rowley.
and we are the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball with the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. Hoops for the soul, players for life. Yeah, baby. Let's
Just got
go.
just
See
got
you next
canceled.
time. That was terrible. Oh, man. That was awesome. Thanks, Trent. I'll see you
Yep.
next week, bro.
Later,
Love
bud.
you. Take
You
care.